tonight, you are not a king, a knight, nor a wealthy merchant. Instead, you are someone almost nobody remembers. A medieval night watchman. Every evening, just as the last orange rays of sunlight disappear behind the town walls, your work quietly begins. While everyone else hopes for peaceful dreams, you prepare to stay awake. You pull a thick wool cloak around your shoulders. The night air already carries the cool smell of damp stone and distant fireplaces. Your leather boots are worn smooth from years of walking the same streets. At your belt hangs a wooden lantern. Inside, a tiny candle flickers softly. Beside it rests a small iron bell. And in your hand, a long ashwood staff polished by countless nights of use. No shining armor. No famous sword. No cheering crowds. Only silence. Your duty is simple. Walk. Watch. Listen. Repeat. Most nights, nothing remarkable happens. And that is exactly how everyone hopes the night will remain. Because in medieval towns, quiet nights are precious. There are no electric lights. No police cars. No emergency phones. Only darkness. The narrow streets twist between timber-framed houses. Wooden shutters close one by one. Candles disappear behind tiny windows. The town slowly sinks into sleep. Somewhere a baby cries. A dog barks once. A horse shifts inside its stable. Then, almost nothing. This is your kingdom. Not a kingdom of glory. A kingdom of shadows. Every sound matters. Every silence tells a story. Every corner hides uncertainty. Historians rarely write about people like you. Yet without watchmen, medieval towns would have been far more dangerous places. Fire. Thieves. Drunken fights. Lost travelers. Open gates. Every problem often appeared first during the night. And someone had to notice. That someone was you. So tonight, wrap your cloak tightly. Lift your lantern. Take a slow breath. The town is asleep. Your long walk is about to begin. The heavy wooden gate of the guardhouse closes quietly behind you. Its familiar creak fades into the evening air. Now it is just you. Your lantern. Your walking staff. And the sleeping town. You take your first slow steps along the narrow cobbled street. Each boot presses gently against uneven stones that have carried thousands of feet over countless generations. Merchants. Farmers. Pilgrims. Children. Travelers. And now, only a single watchman beneath the stars. Your lantern sways softly from your hand. Its warm light dances across timber walls and rough stone foundations. Long shadows stretch beside you before quietly disappearing into darkness. The town feels entirely different at night. During daylight, these same streets overflow with voices. Vendors call out the prices of fresh bread. Blacksmiths strike glowing iron with ringing hammers. Children chase one another between market stalls. Dogs bark excitedly. Cartwheels rumble across the stones. Neighbors pause to exchange stories. Everything moves. Everything speaks. But tonight, almost nothing does. Only the steady rhythm of your footsteps accompanies you. Step. Pause. Step. Pause. The silence is never complete. If you listen carefully, the town is still breathing. A shutter gently taps against its frame. A horse snorts inside a nearby stable. Somewhere above, pigeons shuffle beneath a rooftop. Wind whispers through narrow alleyways. A cat slips quietly across the street before disappearing beneath a cart. Every sound has meaning. Every sound deserves attention. One of the first lessons every new watchman learns is simple. Do not fear silence. Learn to understand it. Silence itself is not dangerous. Unexpected sounds are. An unfamiliar voice. Breaking wood. Hurried footsteps. Running horses. The smell of smoke carried on the wind. These things deserve notice. Everything else belongs naturally to the night. You continue along your assigned route. No hurry. There is never any reason to rush unless something has gone terribly wrong. A calm watchman notices more than an anxious one. The moon has risen above the eastern hills. Tonight it is nearly full. Its pale silver light spills across rooftops and narrow lanes. Sometimes the moon is bright enough that you barely need your lantern at all. Other nights, thick clouds swallow every trace of light. On those evenings, darkness becomes almost complete. Modern cities rarely know such darkness. Streetlights shine through the night. Cars pass every few moments. Electric windows glow until midnight. But in a medieval town, night truly belongs to darkness. Once candles are extinguished, the world shrinks. You can only see what stands a few steps ahead. Everything beyond becomes imagination. Your eyes slowly adapt. After years of night patrols, experienced watchmen learn to recognize familiar shapes. That leaning oak tree near the cooper's workshop. The crooked chimney above the baker's house. The cracked stone beside the fountain. These landmarks become trusted companions. If one of them ever appears different, you immediately notice. Perhaps someone has moved a cart. Perhaps a gate has been left open. Perhaps something unusual has happened. Routine creates safety. Anything unusual deserves another look. As you pass the weaver's house, you notice a faint glow behind a shutter. Someone is still awake. Perhaps a mother comforting a restless child. Perhaps an elderly man unable to sleep. Perhaps someone finishing work before tomorrow's market. There is no need to interrupt. People often work long after sunset. As long as nothing appears dangerous, you simply continue walking. Your responsibility is observation, not intrusion. The cool evening breeze carries many familiar scents. Fresh-cut oak timber, wood smoke drifting from stone chimneys, damp earth from nearby gardens, hay stored inside barns, a trace of sheep's wool, a faint sweetness from an orchard beyond the walls. Each season changes the smell of the town. Spring carries wet soil and blossoms. Summer smells of herbs, warm wood, and ripe fruit. Autumn brings apples, smoke, and harvested grain. Winter fills the streets with burning firewood and crisp cold air. Without realizing it, experienced watchmen often know the season with closed eyes. Their noses become as useful as their eyes. Ahead, a narrow alley disappears between two tall buildings. Many newcomers dislike such places. Dark, quiet, hidden. But after years of walking these streets, you know every corner. You raise your lantern slightly. Nothing. Only stacked barrels waiting for morning deliveries. A sleeping dog lifts its head. It recognizes your footsteps. Its tail taps lazily against the ground before it settles back into sleep. Even the town's animals grow accustomed to the watchman's nightly rounds. You smile quietly and continue on. The church tower stands above the rooftops like a silent guardian. Its stone walls have watched over generations of townspeople. Soon the bell will ring again, marking another passing hour. Time moves differently at night. There are no busy markets, no appointments, no crowded roads. Only the slow turning of hours beneath the stars. You pass beneath an archway leading toward the market square. Your lantern light glides over weathered stone. Everything feels calm. Everything feels familiar. And for a medieval night watchman, familiarity is perhaps the greatest comfort of all. Because when every street looks exactly as it should, it usually means the people sleeping behind those wooden doors are safe. You adjust your cloak against the cool wind. Take another slow breath. Lift your lantern just a little higher. The market square now lies ahead, waiting quietly beneath the moonlight. The narrow street gradually opens before you. The houses step back. The shadows widen. And soon, you arrive at the heart of the town. The market square. By daylight, this place is the busiest corner of the entire settlement. Before sunrise, farmers guide carts through the gates. Horses pull wagons loaded with sacks of grain. Women arrange baskets filled with onions, beans, apples, and herbs. The baker carries warm loaves from his oven. The butcher sharpens his knives before the first customers arrive. Merchants unfold bolts of colorful cloth from distant cities. Children weave through the crowds, laughing as they chase one another around the fountain. Voices rise from every direction. Coins clink into wooden boxes. Bargains are struck with smiles, nods, and firm handshakes. The square is filled with movement. It is the heartbeat of the town. But now, it feels almost like another world. The market stalls stand empty beneath the moon. Their canvas coverings are tied down against the evening breeze. Wooden tables cast long, quiet shadows across the cobblestones. The fountain at the center continues its gentle trickle, just as it has all day. Without the crowd, its soft splashing becomes surprisingly loud. You pause beside it for a moment. The cool sound of flowing water is strangely comforting. Many medieval towns depended on wells or fountains like this one. Fresh water was precious. During the day, people gathered here not only to fill buckets, but also to exchange news, greetings, and small pieces of gossip. At night, however, the fountain belongs only to the stars. The moon reflects upon its surface. Every ripple bends the silver light into delicate patterns. You adjust the lantern hanging from your hand. Its warm glow mixes gently with the cool moonlight. Neither light is strong. Together, they reveal just enough. A careful watchman learns not to waste candlelight. Candles are expensive. The town provides them, but every flame must last until morning. You shield the lantern from a passing breeze with your cloak. The tiny flame steadies again. A habit formed through many quiet nights. Across the square, several wooden carts remain parked in neat rows. Tomorrow, they will once again carry vegetables, cheese, wool, pottery, and barrels of ale. Tonight, they simply rest. Just like their owners. You slowly circle the square. Your footsteps echo softly between the buildings. The sound returns a heartbeat later. Echoes can be useful. They tell you how empty a place truly is. An unexpected echo, or the lack of one, may reveal another presence. Tonight, everything sounds exactly as expected. Peaceful. Predictable. Safe. Near one corner of the square stands the public weighing house. Large stone weights rest beneath its wooden roof. During the day, merchants bring grain, flour, salt, and cloth here to ensure honest trade. Fair measurements build trust. Without trust, a market cannot survive. Now the scales hang perfectly still. Not even the wind disturbs them. Nearby stands the old notice post. A few parchment announcements remain pinned beneath wax seals. Perhaps tomorrow's market tax. Perhaps news from a neighboring lord. Perhaps instructions from the town council. No one stops to read them tonight. Morning will come soon enough. Your eyes continue moving. Window. Door. Roof. Alley. Window. Door. Roof. Again and again. A watchman's greatest tool is patience. You are not searching for excitement. You are searching for anything that does not belong. A loose shutter. A broken lock. Fresh footprints in wet mud. Smoke where there should be none. Most nights, you find nothing unusual. And that is the finest reward. For a quiet night means peaceful sleep for hundreds of families. A gentle breeze crosses the square. Somewhere nearby, a wind chime made from small pieces of metal gives a faint, delicate sound. Its soft music lasts only a few seconds before silence returns. Far above, clouds drift slowly across the moon. For a few moments, darkness grows deeper. Your lantern suddenly becomes the brightest light in the square. Then, just as quietly, the moon emerges once more. Silver light washes across the rooftops. The shadows shift again. Nothing has changed. Yet everything looks slightly different. Night is always changing. Never quickly. Always gently. You glance toward the narrow street leading to the merchant's quarter. It remains empty. Beyond it lies another row of sleeping homes. Each one holds a family trusting that someone is watching while they dream. Most of them will never know your name. Many children will sleep through every patrol you make. That is perfectly acceptable. A watchman seeks neither applause nor recognition. Success is measured by ordinary mornings. When shopkeepers unlock their doors. When bakers light their ovens. When children run laughing back into the square. It means your night has passed exactly as everyone hoped. Quietly. Safely. Peacefully. You tighten your wool cloak against the cool night air. Lift your lantern once more. Turn away from the silent market. Ahead, a narrow road climbs gently toward the northern gate of the town. Your patrol is far from over. The walls are waiting. The gates must still be checked. And beyond those gates, the dark countryside stretches beneath the stars. Leaving the quiet market square behind, you follow a gently rising street toward the northern edge of the town. The cobblestones become older here. Many are uneven from centuries of use. Countless feet have worn them smooth. Merchants with heavy wagons. Pilgrims carrying walking staffs. Soldiers marching in leather boots. Farmers returning from the fields. And every night, watchmen like you. The houses become fewer as you approach the town wall. Workshops give way to storehouses. Large barns stand beside narrow lanes. Bundles of firewood are stacked neatly beneath wooden roofs, protected from the weather. Everything has been prepared before nightfall. In a medieval town, people rarely leave important tasks until after dark. Darkness makes even simple work more difficult. Ahead, the town wall rises from the earth. It is not impossibly tall, nor is it decorated with grand towers like those in royal castles. Instead, it is practical. Built to protect ordinary people. Its rough stones hold the memory of many seasons. Rain has washed over them. Snow has gathered upon them. Summer sunlight has warmed them. For generations, the wall has quietly stood between safety and uncertainty. You reach the northern gate. By day, this entrance is busy. Travelers arrive with pack horses. Merchants push carts filled with cloth, wine, grain, and tools. Messengers hurry through carrying sealed letters. Pilgrims pause to ask for directions. Children sometimes wait here, hoping to catch sight of something unusual arriving from distant lands. But tonight, the great wooden gates are firmly closed. Massive oak beams reinforce them from the inside. Heavy iron hinges hold them in place. A thick locking bar stretches across the entrance. You raise your lantern. Its soft light moves slowly across the wood. No fresh cracks. No damaged hinges. No loose fittings. Everything appears exactly as it should. You gently place a hand against the gate. The oak feels cool beneath your fingers. Solid. Steady. Reassuring. Beyond these doors lies the countryside. Rolling fields disappear beneath the moonlight. Forests stand quietly in the distance. Small farms sleep beneath thatched roofs. Narrow roads stretch toward neighboring villages many miles away. During daylight, those roads connect the town to the wider world. At night, they become places of mystery. Travel after sunset is uncommon. Without lanterns or moonlight, even familiar roads become difficult to follow. A traveler caught outside after dark might choose to sleep beneath a tree rather than risk losing the path. The countryside itself is not always dangerous. But darkness hides many ordinary hazards. A broken bridge. A muddy ditch. A frightened horse. A fallen branch. A wrong turn into unfamiliar woods. Medieval people understood that daylight was often their greatest protection. You climb the narrow stone staircase leading onto the wall. Each step has been worn smooth by countless boots. Watchmen have climbed these same stairs for decades. Perhaps even centuries. Reaching the top, you pause. The view is peaceful. The sleeping town lies behind you. Rows of timber-framed houses rest beneath silver moonlight. Thin trails of smoke still drift from a few chimneys where fires slowly burn low. Beyond the rooftops rises the church tower. Its silhouette stands dark against a sky filled with stars. Outside the walls, the land stretches quietly in every direction. Fields shimmer softly beneath the moon. A distant river reflects a ribbon of pale light. Far away, an owl calls from the edge of the forest. Its low voice drifts across the night before fading into silence. You breathe deeply. The air feels cooler atop the wall. Cleaner. Carrying the scent of grass, damp earth, and growing wheat. For a few peaceful moments, the entire world seems asleep. You begin walking along the wooden wall walk. The planks creak gently beneath your weight. Every few steps, you pause. You look outward. Then inward. Outward toward the countryside. Inward toward the sleeping town. A watchman protects both. You are not searching for invading armies. Despite what many stories suggest, most medieval towns never experienced dramatic attacks. Instead, your concerns are far more ordinary. Has someone forgotten to secure a small postern door? Has a section of fencing been damaged by recent storms? Has anyone attempted to climb the wall? Is there smoke rising from an unexpected place? The smallest details often matter most. As you continue your patrol, a cool breeze passes across the battlements. Your lantern flame flickers. You shield it with one hand until it steadies again. Looking upward, you notice the stars. Without electric lights, the night sky appears astonishingly bright. Thousands upon thousands of stars spread across the heavens. The pale band of the Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of light. Many watchmen come to know these stars well. They mark the passing seasons. They help judge the hour before the church bell rings. They remind you that while the town sleeps, the sky continues its slow, eternal journey. You lean briefly against the cold stone parapet. Below, the fields remain calm. No approaching wagons. No torchlights winding along the road. No signs of trouble. Only gentle wind moving through the grain. You smile to yourself. Another peaceful hour. Exactly the kind every watchman hopes for. You adjust your cloak, grip your staff, and continue along the wall. Ahead, a narrow staircase descends toward the riverside district. From there, your route will lead you into one of the greatest dangers any medieval town could face. Not an invading army. Not a band of thieves. But something far more common. And far more terrifying. Fire. You leave the town wall by a narrow flight of stone steps. Each step is damp with the cool breath of the night. Your lantern throws a gentle circle of light across the worn stones as you descend toward the riverside district. The streets here are quieter than anywhere else in town. Warehouses line the road, their heavy wooden doors secured with iron bars. Stacks of empty barrels rest beneath simple shelters. Coils of rope hang from wooden beams. Fishing nets dry in the cool night air. During the day, this district hums with quiet industry. Boats unload grain, timber, wool, and salt. Laborers carry sacks across broad shoulders. Carters urge tired horses forward with calm voices. The river is a lifeline. It brings food, trade, and travelers. Now, under the moonlight, the river moves almost silently. Its surface reflects scattered stars. The current whispers against wooden pilings. Occasionally, a small fish breaks the surface with the softest splash before disappearing again. You pause for a moment beside the water. The cool air carries a familiar scent. Fresh water. Wet wood. River reeds. A trace of damp earth. Everything feels calm. Yet this peaceful district reminds you of the greatest danger a medieval town faces. Fire. Many people today imagine medieval towns threatened mostly by war. But for ordinary families, fire was often a far greater fear. Almost every home contains an open hearth. Candles burn through the evening. Oil lamps glow beside beds. Blacksmiths work with blazing forges. Bakers keep ovens hot for hours. Brewers boil great kettles. Even a single forgotten ember can become a disaster. Most homes are built from timber. Their roofs are often covered with thatch or wooden shingles. Once flames take hold, they spread with frightening speed. House to house. Roof to roof. Street to street. A strong wind can carry burning sparks across an entire neighborhood. That is why a watchman's nose is almost as important as his eyes. You stop walking. Close your eyes for a brief moment. And breathe slowly. Wood smoke. That is expected. Nearly every chimney releases a faint ribbon of smoke into the cool night. But you are searching for something different. Fresh smoke. Sharp smoke. The smell of burning timber where no fire should be burning. Your senses have grown more sensitive over the years. You can often tell whether smoke comes from oak, pine, straw, or charcoal. You can even notice when smoke drifts from an unusual direction. Experience teaches patience. You continue your patrol. Every few streets, you pause. Listen. Look. Breathe. The routine never changes. And because it never changes, even the smallest difference becomes noticeable. Ahead, a chimney sends a lazy stream of smoke into the night sky. Perfectly normal. Its owner has simply added another log to the fire before going to bed. Further along, another house is completely dark. Its hearth has gone cold. Only the moonlight touches its roof. A little farther, you notice a faint orange glow through the cracks of a bakery door. The baker has already begun tomorrow's work. Bread cannot appear by magic at sunrise. Someone must wake long before dawn to knead dough, tend the oven, and prepare the first loaves. You smile quietly. The town is never completely asleep. Some people simply keep different hours than others. You continue toward the grain warehouse. This is one of the places requiring extra attention. Dry grain burns easily. A single spark could destroy an entire season's harvest. You lift your lantern. The great wooden doors remain locked. Iron hinges are secure. No smoke escapes through the roof. Everything appears exactly as it should. You tap your staff lightly against the ground. The familiar sound echoes through the empty street. Sometimes the rhythm of a watchman's staff serves another purpose. It quietly reminds anyone awake that someone is on patrol. The town is not abandoned. Someone is watching. Some watchmen also call out the passing hour. Others ring a small bell. Practices vary from town to town, but the message remains the same. Stay safe. Sleep peacefully. The night is being watched. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves of a nearby willow tree. For just a moment, their rustling resembles the crackling of distant flames. You stop. Listen carefully. The sound fades into ordinary leaves brushing against one another. False alarms happen often. That is perfectly acceptable. Better to investigate a harmless sound than ignore a dangerous one. Patience is one of the quiet virtues of your profession. The river bends gently beside the road. Moonlight dances upon the moving water. Tiny ripples carry reflections downstream until they disappear into darkness. Beyond the opposite bank lie open meadows. A thin layer of mist begins forming above the grass. The world grows softer, quieter. Even your footsteps seem gentler now. Far behind you, the church bell rings another hour. Its deep voice rolls slowly across rooftops, across gardens, across the sleeping river. The sound reminds you how steadily the night passes. Hour by hour, step by step. You are already several hours into your patrol. Yet there is still much of the night remaining. You glance upward. The stars have shifted slightly across the sky. Constellations continue their silent journey westward. Without clocks in every pocket, many experienced watchmen judge the hour by these familiar patterns overhead. Nature itself becomes a quiet companion. The river district remains peaceful. No unusual smoke. No frightened voices. No hurried footsteps. Only calm. Exactly as you hoped. You adjust your lantern once more and begin walking toward the oldest part of town, where narrow lanes wind between ancient stone cottages and a small churchyard that has watched over generations. There, beneath old trees and weathered gravestones, the night grows even quieter. Almost as if time itself has slowed to a gentle whisper. Leaving the riverside behind, you follow a gently winding lane toward the oldest quarter of the town. The streets become narrower here. The houses lean slightly toward one another, their upper floors extending over the road as though sharing old secrets. Some of these buildings have stood for more than 100 years. Their oak beams are dark with age. Their plaster walls are uneven, marked by countless winters and summers. Every stone beneath your boots carries the memory of generations. Your lantern casts a warm glow across the quiet lane. Its light catches iron door handles polished by decades of use. A wooden sign outside a cooper's workshop creaks softly in the breeze. Empty flower boxes rest beneath shuttered windows. Everything appears calm. Everything appears asleep. Ahead, the church rises above the surrounding rooftops. Its square stone tower is the tallest structure in this part of town. Even in darkness, it feels reassuring. For many medieval people, the church was more than a place of worship. It marked the rhythm of daily life. Its bells announced sunrise. They called people to prayer. They warned of danger. They celebrated weddings. They mourned the passing of neighbors. Its steady presence offered comfort through every season. The churchyard surrounding it is enclosed by a low stone wall. You push open the small wooden gate. It opens with a gentle creak. Inside, the world feels even quieter. Ancient yew trees spread their branches above weathered gravestones. The moonlight filters through the leaves, creating delicate patterns upon the ground. Soft grass grows between the stone markers. Some inscriptions are still easy to read. Others have been softened by rain, wind, and time. Many names have faded away. Yet each stone once marked a life filled with ordinary hopes and daily routines. Farmers, millers, weavers, bakers, children, mothers, fathers. People who once walked these very streets beneath the same stars. You remove your cap for a brief moment out of quiet respect. Then you continue your slow patrol. There is nothing frightening here. Modern stories often imagine medieval churchyards as mysterious places filled with ghosts and whispers. The reality was usually much simpler. To the people of the town, this was familiar ground. A peaceful resting place beside the church they visited throughout their lives. The night air carries the scent of fresh grass and damp stone. Somewhere high in the bell tower, a pigeon shifts in its nest. Its wings flutter softly before settling once more. Nearby, an owl glides silently from one branch to another. Its flight is so smooth that it barely disturbs the air. You pause beside the old stone well near the church entrance. Its bucket hangs motionless above the dark water below. During the day, people often stop here before entering the church. Now, only your lantern reflects faintly upon the still surface. You lean slightly over the edge. The reflection of your small flame trembles gently, then settles once again. A reminder that even the smallest movement creates quiet ripples. From the tower above comes the slow turning of unseen gears. Some larger churches maintain mechanical clocks, though many rely simply on the ringing of bells. The sounds are faint, barely noticeable. Yet they remind you that time continues moving, even while the town sleeps. You walk along the narrow path between the gravestones. Your staff taps gently against the earth. Tap. Pause. Tap. Pause. The rhythm is comforting. Predictable. Steady. A watchman's greatest companion is routine. Every familiar sound becomes part of the night's gentle music. A cool breeze passes through the yew trees. Their branches sway softly overhead. The leaves whisper together for a few moments before growing still again. Nothing unusual. Nothing alarming. Only nature keeping quiet company. You stop near the far corner of the churchyard, where the stone wall overlooks a small meadow beyond the town. Mist has begun gathering above the grass. The moonlight turns it pale silver. In the distance, you can just make out the outline of a shepherd's cottage. Its single window glows faintly with the last embers of a dying fire. Soon, even that light will disappear. The entire countryside will rest beneath the stars. You take a slow, deep breath. The night feels wonderfully peaceful. It is easy to understand why so many watchmen came to cherish these quiet hours. There is no shouting, no crowded marketplace, no hurried business. Only the gentle rhythm of walking, watching, listening, breathing. The town entrusts you with its sleep. And tonight, that trust seems well placed. No smoke rises where it should not. No cries for help disturb the silence. No hurried footsteps echo through the lanes. Only the distant murmur of the river, the whisper of leaves, and the steady glow of your lantern. You turn toward the church gate once more. There is still much of the night ahead. Beyond the churchyard lies the old tavern district. By now, its laughter has long faded. Only a few dying candles may still burn behind thick wooden shutters. You tighten your wool cloak against the cool air, lift your lantern, and continue your patient walk through the sleeping town. The wooden gate of the churchyard closes softly behind you. Its quiet click disappears almost immediately into the stillness of the night. You continue down a gently sloping street toward the western quarter of the town. Earlier today, these lanes were full of cheerful conversation. Travelers exchanged stories from distant villages. Merchants discussed tomorrow's prices. Craftsmen laughed together after a long day's work. The smell of roasted meat drifted through open doorways. Fresh bread cooled upon wooden shelves. Ale flowed into heavy clay mugs. But those lively hours have now passed. The town has entered its quietest season of the day. Night. Ahead, a weathered wooden sign swings gently above the road. A painted tankard, faded by years of rain and sunshine, marks the entrance to the town's largest tavern. The sign creaks slowly in the breeze. It has likely made that same familiar sound for decades. You pause for a moment. Not because you expect trouble. Simply because this stop is always part of your nightly route. Most evenings, the tavern closes shortly after the final bell. Its owner knows that keeping customers long into the night invites unnecessary problems. The heavy oak door is now shut. Warm light slips only faintly beneath its threshold. Inside, someone is almost certainly cleaning tables, stacking benches, sweeping straw from the floor, counting the day's coins. Perhaps the innkeeper's family quietly prepares for sleep. Running a tavern is hard work. Long before the first guest arrives, fires must be lit. Bread must be baked. Stew must be prepared. Ale barrels rolled into place. Beds made for travelers staying the night. By the time darkness falls, everyone inside is ready for rest. You raise your lantern slightly and glance toward the stable beside the tavern. Several horses stand peacefully beneath the shelter. They flick their tails lazily. One lifts its head as your footsteps approach. Its ears turn toward you. Recognizing nothing unusual, it lowers its head once again. Animals often notice familiar routines. Many of these horses have watched you pass every evening for years. Across the street stands a small inn. Unlike the tavern, it welcomes weary travelers seeking a bed rather than conversation. A single candle glows upstairs behind thick curtains. Perhaps a merchant has only just arrived after a long journey. Perhaps an elderly traveler reads a prayer before sleeping. Perhaps someone simply cannot fall asleep after many miles upon the road. You continue walking without disturbing them. The peaceful rhythm of the town depends upon quiet respect. A watchman is present, but never intrusive. The cool air carries the lingering scent of supper. Roasted onions, wood smoke, fresh bread, a hint of herbs from someone's evening stew. Though the kitchens have mostly gone cold, their comforting aromas still drift gently through the narrow streets. Farther along, you notice several wooden barrels standing outside a cooper's workshop. Earlier they would have been filled with ale waiting for tomorrow's deliveries. Now they sit empty beneath the moonlight. Their round shadows stretch across the cobblestones. Nothing appears disturbed. Everything rests exactly where it should. Your staff taps softly against the stones. Tap, tap, tap. The sound echoes gently between the buildings. Some people sleeping lightly may hear it through their shutters. Rather than causing alarm, the familiar rhythm often brings reassurance. The watchman is making his rounds. The streets are not forgotten. For centuries, many watchmen announced their presence aloud. Some called the hour. Some wished the townspeople a peaceful night. Others simply proclaimed that all was well. The words differed from place to place, but their purpose remained constant: to remind everyone that someone remained awake while they slept. You stop beneath a small iron lantern mounted outside the tavern. Its candle has burned almost completely away. Only a tiny ember glows at the end of the wick. Slowly, quietly, the light fades. For a moment, the lantern glows orange. Then softer still, until darkness gently claims it. You smile. There is something strangely comforting about the town surrendering itself to sleep. One light after another disappears. Not from fear, but from trust. Trust that the night will pass peacefully. Trust that dawn will come again. Trust that careful watchmen continue walking beneath the stars. The clouds overhead drift slowly eastward. The moon now stands higher in the sky. Its pale light washes over rooftops and chimneys. The shadows have shifted since the beginning of your patrol. Time moves quietly, without hurry. Without announcement. Only the stars and the moon mark its passing. A cool breeze brushes against your face. You pull your wool cloak a little closer around your shoulders. The night grows colder during these hours before dawn. Experienced watchmen know this well. The first part of the evening is often comfortable. The deepest hours of night bring the greatest chill. You breathe slowly. The cold air feels crisp and refreshing. Somewhere far beyond the western gate, a fox gives a short, distant bark. The sound echoes faintly across the countryside. It lasts only a moment before silence returns. No alarm. Only another reminder that while people sleep, countless other creatures continue their own quiet lives beneath the same moon. You glance once more toward the tavern. Its last window has now gone completely dark. Everyone inside has retired for the night. Your route continues. Ahead, the narrow streets lead toward the edge of town, where a lonely road disappears into open fields. Occasionally, long after sunset, a weary traveler arrives there hoping to find shelter before morning. Tonight, perhaps someone still walks beneath the stars, searching for the safety of the town walls. You lift your lantern, adjust your grip on your ashwood staff, and continue your slow, patient walk into the peaceful darkness. The streets grow quieter with every step. Behind you, the tavern district has fallen completely silent. Even the last candle has gone dark. Only your lantern now casts a warm circle of light across the cobblestones. You follow the road toward the western gate of the town. This entrance is smaller than the northern gate. It serves nearby farms and villages rather than the great trade routes. During daylight, shepherds guide flocks of sheep through these gates. Farmers arrive with baskets of vegetables balanced on wooden carts. Children carry bundles of firewood on their shoulders. The gate is rarely crowded, but it is always busy enough to remind you that the town depends on the countryside, just as the countryside depends on the town. Tonight, however, the gate stands closed. The heavy oak doors are secured with a stout crossbeam. A single guard sits beneath a small wooden shelter nearby. His helmet rests on the bench beside him. His spear leans against the wall. He nods politely as you approach. There is little need for conversation. Night watchmen often work together in comfortable silence. You exchange a few quiet words. All peaceful. The guard smiles faintly. So far. Those two simple words are enough. You continue your patrol beyond the gatehouse, climbing a short staircase onto the wall once more. From here, you can see the road stretching westward. It winds gently through open fields before disappearing into a line of dark trees. Moonlight covers the countryside with a soft silver glow. The world seems peaceful. Yet roads after sunset are never entirely predictable. Most sensible travelers plan to reach a town before nightfall. Still, unexpected delays happen. A broken wagon wheel. A lame horse. Heavy rain. An illness. A wrong turn at a crossroads. Sometimes a traveler arrives long after the gates have closed. As you stand quietly upon the wall, your ears catch something unusual. Very faint. Almost carried away by the breeze. The distant clop, clop, clop of horse hooves. You remain perfectly still. Listening. The sound comes again. Slow. Unhurried. Only one horse. Not several. That alone is reassuring. A lone rider is rarely a cause for alarm. Gradually, a small shape appears along the moonlit road. The horse walks rather than trots. Its rider sits slightly bent with weariness. Even from this distance, you can sense exhaustion. The traveler has been on the road for many hours. You lift your lantern slightly, allowing its light to become visible from the wall. Not as a warning. As a guide. A tiny point of warmth against the darkness. The rider notices. The horse continues steadily toward the gate. Soon, the traveler stops below the wall and looks upward. "Good evening," comes a tired voice. "Am I too late?" You lean gently against the stone parapet. The gates closed at sunset. The rider sighs. Not in frustration. Only in acceptance. Such rules are well understood. Closing the gates protects everyone inside. Opening them during the night is not done lightly. The traveler explains that a wheel broke on a merchant's cart several miles away. He stopped to help. By the time repairs were finished, darkness had already fallen. You nod with understanding. Acts of kindness often come with inconvenience. Fortunately, the town has prepared for situations like this. Outside many medieval towns stood small shelters where late travelers could safely wait until morning. Sometimes they were simple barns. Sometimes modest inns just beyond the walls. Occasionally, nearby monasteries welcomed weary pilgrims. You point toward a small stone building not far from the gate. There is shelter there until sunrise. The rider follows your gesture. A smile of relief appears. "Thank you. You are welcome." The conversation ends. There is no need for lengthy discussion. The traveler guides the horse toward the shelter. Soon both disappear into the quiet darkness beneath its roof. You remain upon the wall for another few moments. Watching. Making certain everything remains peaceful. The countryside grows silent once more. Only the gentle whisper of wind moves through the fields. Encounters like this remind you that a watchman's duty is not only to guard against danger. It is also to offer calm guidance when needed. Most nights require no heroics. Only patience, courtesy, and quiet judgment. You begin walking again along the wall. Above you, the stars shine with remarkable clarity. The familiar constellations have shifted farther west. The night is slowly advancing toward its coldest hours. Below, the town sleeps without interruption. No windows open. No hurried footsteps echo through the streets. No smoke rises unexpectedly into the sky. Everything remains wonderfully ordinary. For a watchman, ordinary is a blessing. As you descend from the wall once more, a thin veil of mist begins to gather over the nearby fields. The air feels cooler now. Moisture settles gently upon your cloak. Ahead lies one of the most mysterious companions of every night patrol. Not danger. Not silence. But the slow arrival of fog, softening every familiar street into quiet shades of gray. You tighten your grip on the lantern. Its warm glow suddenly becomes even more precious. The first wisps of fog appear almost unnoticed. They drift quietly across the fields beyond the western gate, thin as strands of silk. For a while, they remain low to the ground, gliding over the grass without making a sound. Then, carried by the cool night air, they begin to move toward the town. You have seen this countless times before. Fog is one of the oldest companions of the night watchman. It never arrives in a hurry. It simply appears, little by little, until familiar places seem gently transformed. You leave the gate behind and return to the narrow streets. Already, the outlines of distant buildings have softened. The church tower, once sharp against the stars, now seems wrapped in a pale gray veil. Your lantern becomes the brightest thing around you. Its warm glow reaches only a few steps ahead. Beyond that, the world fades into mist. You slow your pace. Not because you are afraid. Because fog asks everyone to move more carefully. The cobblestones beneath your boots are damp. Moisture has settled upon the stone, making it smooth beneath the soles of your worn leather shoes. Each step is steady. Measured. Your ashwood staff touches the ground before every stride. Tap. Step. Tap. Step. The familiar rhythm helps guide you through the quiet streets. Fog changes more than what you can see. It changes what you can hear. Sounds become softer. Closer. Sometimes strangely distant. The drip of water from a roof echoes gently through the mist. A sleeping horse shifts inside a stable, its quiet snort seeming to come from somewhere much farther away. Even your own footsteps sound different, wrapped in the thick night air. You pause at a crossroads. By daylight, this intersection is simple. For roads meet beside a stone well. Children run through it. Merchants push carts across it. Neighbors stop here to exchange greetings. Now, the fog hides everything beyond a short distance. The well emerges from the mist like an old friend waiting patiently. Its weathered stones glisten with tiny drops of moisture. You rest one hand lightly upon its cool edge. The stone feels damp, cold, solid. Some things never change, no matter how thick the fog becomes. That thought is oddly comforting. You lift your lantern slightly higher. Its flame burns steadily behind polished horn panels. The warm light catches the mist, creating a soft golden halo around you. For a moment, it feels as though you are walking inside your own small island of light. The darkness no longer seems empty. It simply waits beyond the reach of your lantern. Experienced watchmen know that fog can play gentle tricks upon the eyes. A stacked pile of firewood may resemble a crouching figure. A twisted apple tree may appear like someone standing beside the road. A hanging sign may sway just enough to suggest movement where there is none. That is why patience matters. Never rush toward a shadow. Never assume. Observe. Wait. Look again. More often than not, the mystery quietly explains itself. Ahead, a shape slowly forms in the mist. Tall. Still. Silent. You stop. Your hand tightens gently around the lantern. A few moments pass. Then the fog shifts with the breeze. The shape becomes clear. It is only the old town pump, standing exactly where it has stood for years. You smile to yourself. The night has offered another harmless illusion. Such moments keep a watchman humble. The world often looks different in darkness. But different does not always mean dangerous. As you continue your patrol, tiny beads of moisture gather upon your wool cloak. Your beard feels cool with dew. Even the leather strap of your lantern grows slightly damp. The scent of the town changes again. Smoke has become fainter now. Instead, the air smells of wet stone, fresh earth, moss growing between ancient walls, the faint sweetness of ivy climbing old timber houses. It is a peaceful scent, one that belongs only to the deepest hours before dawn. You pass the blacksmith's workshop. The forge has long since gone cold. No glowing coals remain. Only the great anvil waits silently beneath its wooden roof. Tomorrow morning, the ringing of hammer against iron will return. For now, even the tools seem asleep. Farther along, you notice a narrow alley leading toward the baker's quarter. The fog gathers thickly there, filling the passage like a slow-moving river. Your lantern reveals only the first few yards. Beyond that, only gentle whiteness. You do not need to see every corner. You know these streets well enough to walk them almost by memory. Every turn, every doorway, every worn stone beneath your boots has become familiar through years of faithful patrol. The church bell sounds again. Its deep tone rolls softly through the fog. The mist seems to carry the sound farther than usual. One slow note. Then another. Then silence. You pause and count them carefully. Another hour has passed. The longest part of the night is now behind you. Though dawn is still distant, you can almost sense the quiet promise of morning waiting somewhere beyond the eastern horizon. For now, however, the town remains wrapped in peaceful gray. Your lantern glows warmly against the mist. Your steady footsteps continue their familiar rhythm. And somewhere ahead, carried faintly upon the cool air, another scent begins to emerge. Fresh bread. The bakers will soon begin their work. The sleeping town is slowly preparing to wake. The scent reaches you long before the bakery comes into view. Warm bread. Fresh yeast. A hint of roasted grain. It drifts gently through the cool morning air, weaving its way between narrow streets and quiet houses. After hours of damp stone, river mist, and chimney smoke, the aroma feels almost magical. You follow it at an unhurried pace. The fog still lingers in low places, but it has begun to thin. The outlines of rooftops grow a little clearer with every passing minute. Your lantern still burns steadily, though its candle has grown much shorter. The flame is smaller now, softer. Like the night itself, it is slowly giving way to the coming dawn. Ahead, a warm golden light shines through the shutters of the town bakery. Unlike most homes, this building never sleeps for very long. A baker's day begins when almost everyone else is still dreaming. If the town wishes to enjoy fresh bread at sunrise, someone must wake long before the first rooster calls. You pause outside the bakery door. The thick oak planks are closed, but faint sounds drift through the wood. The steady rhythm of kneading dough. The scrape of a wooden peel across a flour-dusted table. The quiet crackle of logs burning inside a great stone oven. These sounds are calm, predictable, comforting. They speak of ordinary work carried out with practiced hands. You imagine the baker inside, his sleeves rolled above his elbows, his apron dusted white with flour, strong hands folding and stretching the dough again and again. The movements are almost like a quiet dance. Nothing hurried. Nothing wasted. Years of experience have taught him exactly how the dough should feel. Too dry, and the bread will be heavy. Too wet, and it will not hold its shape. There are no measuring cups. No digital scales. Only careful observation and memory. Nearby, a young apprentice carefully feeds another piece of seasoned oak into the oven. A burst of sparks rises for a brief moment before settling into glowing coals. The warm orange light fills the bakery with a peaceful glow. Outside, you feel its gentle warmth reaching through the cracks around the door. It is welcome after the long hours spent walking through the cold night. You continue your patrol, circling slowly around the building. Behind the bakery stands a small shed stacked neatly with sacks of grain. Everything appears orderly. The doors are secure. Nothing has been disturbed. You make a quiet note in your mind and move on. The baker notices your lantern through a small side window. He pauses for just a moment and raises one hand in greeting. You return the gesture with a gentle nod. No words are needed. The exchange lasts only a heartbeat. Yet it carries a quiet understanding. He begins his work before dawn. You protect the town while it sleeps. Each of you serves the community in your own humble way. The first loaf is placed into the oven. Its crust will slowly turn golden over the next hour. By the time the market square begins to fill with people, warm bread will already be waiting upon wooden shelves. You smile softly. Simple routines like these give medieval towns their steady rhythm. The watchman, the baker, the blacksmith, the miller, the farmer. None become famous. Yet together, they keep everyday life moving forward. A faint breeze carries another pleasant scent. This time, it is cinnamon. A rare and expensive spice. Perhaps a wealthy merchant has ordered sweet bread for a special occasion. Spices travel great distances before reaching towns like this. Months upon the road. Across rivers. Through mountain passes. A small pinch of cinnamon tells a story that stretches far beyond these quiet streets. You glance upward. The eastern sky remains dark, but something has changed. The stars nearest the horizon have begun to fade. Not because clouds cover them. Because the first invisible light of morning is slowly approaching. It is still too early for most people to notice. But experienced watchmen always do. The deepest darkness has passed. The world is preparing to awaken. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster gives a quiet, uncertain crow. Only once. As though testing whether morning has truly arrived. Another answers from a neighboring farm beyond the walls. Then silence returns. You chuckle quietly to yourself. Even the roosters seem reluctant to leave the peaceful night behind. Your lantern feels lighter now. Not because it weighs less, but because you know you will not need it for much longer. Soon, the sky itself will provide enough light to guide your steps. You adjust your cloak one final time against the cool air and continue toward the eastern side of town. There, high upon the old stone wall, you will witness one of your favorite moments of every patrol. The first gentle colors of sunrise spreading across the horizon. A reward earned only by those who remain awake through the long, quiet hours of the night. The warm scent of fresh bread slowly fades behind you as you leave the bakery district. Your path leads gently upward once again, toward the eastern wall of the town. The streets remain wonderfully quiet. Most homes are still asleep. Behind sturdy oak doors and shuttered windows, families rest beneath thick wool blankets. The fires in their hearths have burned low. Only a faint glow remains beneath beds of ash. The town has not yet awakened. It lingers in that peaceful moment between night and morning, when the world seems to hold its breath. Your lantern sways gently from your hand. Its candle has become little more than a glowing ember. The flame still burns faithfully, but you can tell its work is nearly finished. Just like your own shift. You climb the familiar stone staircase leading to the top of the eastern wall. The steps feel almost like old friends. You have climbed them hundreds of times. Perhaps thousands. Each worn stone bears the marks of countless boots before yours. Generations of watchmen have stood exactly where you now stand. Watching. Waiting. Greeting another sunrise. As you reach the top, a cool breeze greets you. It carries the clean scent of dew-covered grass from the fields beyond the town. You pause beside the stone parapet and look east. At first, the horizon appears almost unchanged. Still dark. Still quiet. Then, very slowly, you notice the smallest hint of color. A narrow band of deep blue begins to soften. Soon it is joined by a delicate shade of violet. Then pale lavender. The stars nearest the horizon begin disappearing one by one. Not suddenly. Simply fading into the growing light. Above you, the brightest stars still shine. But their time is ending. Every night eventually gives way to morning. You extinguish your lantern. With careful fingers, you pinch the tiny flame. A thin ribbon of smoke curls upward before vanishing into the cool air. The lantern is no longer needed. Nature has taken over its duty. The first birds awaken in the trees beyond the wall. A blackbird sings a short, cheerful melody. Another answers from farther away. Soon, sparrows join the chorus. One voice becomes many. The quiet town begins filling with gentle sounds of life returning. You lean comfortably against the cool stone wall. Below, the countryside stretches peacefully in every direction. Fields shimmer with tiny drops of dew. Each blade of grass catches the growing light. A winding stream reflects the soft colors of the brightening sky. In the distance, a shepherd opens the gate of a small pasture. His flock stirs slowly, still sleepy from the night. The day begins not with noise, but with patience. This has always been one of your favorite moments. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is dependable. No matter how difficult yesterday may have been, no matter what tomorrow may bring, the sunrise always arrives. Quietly. Faithfully. Without asking for recognition. You hear the distant sound of a rooster crowing again. This time, many others answer. Their calls spread from farm to farm like a gentle wave across the countryside. Inside the town, another familiar sound follows. A wooden shutter opens. Then another. Someone yawns softly. A bucket is lowered into a well. A stable door creaks as a farmer greets his horse. The world awakens one small sound at a time. You remain where you are for a few more peaceful minutes. There is no need to hurry. Your duty is almost complete. The church bell begins to ring. Its clear, steady voice welcomes the new day. The sound drifts across rooftops, through gardens, over fields, and along quiet roads leading toward distant villages. For many townspeople, this bell is their morning alarm. Soon bakers will place fresh loaves upon their shelves. Blacksmiths will light their forges. Merchants will unlock their shops. Children will rub sleep from their eyes. The market square will slowly fill with conversation once more. Most of them will never know how peaceful the night has been. They will simply begin another ordinary day. And perhaps that is the greatest compliment a watchman can receive. When nothing unusual has happened. When no alarm bells have rung. When no smoke has darkened the sky. When every family wakes safely beneath their own roof. Your work has been successful. You take one final look across the glowing horizon. The first golden rays of sunlight touch the highest rooftops. The church tower catches the light before any other building. Its ancient stones glow softly in the morning sun. You smile quietly. Another night has passed. Another town has slept in peace. You turn from the wall and begin the slow walk back toward the guardhouse. Your shift is ending. But before you can enjoy a well-earned breakfast and a few hours of sleep, there is one final responsibility. The town gates must be opened. A new day is waiting just outside. The first rays of sunlight spread gently across the rooftops as you descend from the eastern wall. The stone steps, cool only moments ago, are beginning to warm beneath the touch of morning. The town no longer feels asleep. It is waking slowly, one quiet moment at a time. You extinguished your lantern atop the wall, so now your path is lit entirely by the growing daylight. The familiar streets look different in the morning. The long shadows of night have disappeared. Colors begin to return. The brown timber beams. The pale plaster walls. The reddish clay roof tiles. The green vines climbing old stone cottages. Everything that had seemed mysterious beneath moonlight now appears welcoming and ordinary. That is one of the quiet miracles of dawn. It transforms the unknown into the familiar. As you walk toward the northern gate, you pass the bakery once again. This time, the door stands open. Warm air flows into the street, carrying the rich aroma of fresh bread. Rows of golden loaves cool upon wooden racks. The baker is already hard at work, placing another batch into the great stone oven. His apprentice sweeps flour from the floor with a bundle of birch twigs. Neither seem surprised to see you. They simply smile and offer a polite nod. You return the greeting. There is comfort in these familiar exchanges. The town is built not only from timber and stone, but also from small acts of kindness repeated day after day. Farther along, the blacksmith has begun preparing his forge. No hammer strikes yet. Only the careful arranging of charcoal. Soon the workshop will ring with the sound of iron meeting iron. But not quite yet. Morning unfolds at its own gentle pace. A woman opens the shutters of her cottage and shakes out a woven blanket. The crisp morning air carries away the last traces of sleep. Nearby, an elderly man fills 2 wooden buckets from the public well. Their rope creaks softly over the worn wooden pulley. A little farther on, a pair of children peer curiously through their doorway. They are still dressed in simple nightshirts. One rubs sleepy eyes. The other watches a sparrow hopping across the street. The day has begun with wonder rather than hurry. You continue toward the great gate. The guard you greeted earlier still waits beneath the gatehouse. He looks slightly tired, though satisfied. Like you, he has spent the entire night awake. He rises as you approach. "Quiet night," he says. You smile. "The best kind." Together, you step toward the massive oak gates. The heavy crossbeam rests securely in its iron brackets. It takes both of you to lift it free. The wood is thick, polished smooth by years of use. It settles onto its storage hooks with a deep, solid sound. Then comes the great iron bolts. One by one, they are withdrawn. Their metal scrapes softly against the fittings. Nothing hurried. Every movement follows the same routine practiced countless times before. Finally, each of you grips one of the great wooden doors. They are surprisingly heavy. The hinges groan quietly as the gates begin to swing outward. Slowly. Steadily. Morning light pours through the widening opening. The road beyond stretches into the countryside, already bright with golden sunlight. Fresh dew sparkles upon the grass. Bird song fills the air. A farmer waiting patiently outside smiles with relief. His horse stamps gently upon the earth. A merchant adjusts the strap of a leather pack before guiding his mule toward the entrance. Behind him walks a woman carrying baskets filled with eggs covered carefully by clean linen cloth. No one rushes. There is no pushing. Everyone understands that each morning begins this way. The town awakens. The gates open. Life continues. You step aside as the first travelers enter. The merchant offers a grateful nod. The farmer raises 2 fingers in greeting. Simple gestures. Quiet acknowledgments. Most have no idea who walked the streets throughout the night. They simply trust that someone did. That trust has become part of the rhythm of daily life. The guard records the arrivals in a small leather-bound ledger. Not every town keeps such careful records, but this one values order. A few notes. A date. A destination. Nothing more. You glance back toward the market square. Already, vendors are arranging wooden tables beneath colorful awnings. A cart filled with apples rolls slowly across the cobblestones. Fresh vegetables are unloaded from wicker baskets. The fountain sparkles brightly beneath the morning sun. Only a few hours ago, it stood alone beneath the moon. Now laughter and conversation begin to return. The town is alive once more. You take a deep breath. The cool morning air carries the scent of bread, damp earth, fresh hay, and blooming herbs. It is a different fragrance from the night. Warmer. Brighter. Full of promise. Your shoulders feel pleasantly tired. The long patrol has come to its natural conclusion. Every gate was secure. Every street remained peaceful. Every family slept safely through the night. No songs will be written about this shift. No medals will be awarded. Yet you know, deep inside, that quiet success is still success. You adjust your cloak one final time. The sun now rests comfortably above the horizon. Its golden light fills every corner of the town. Your work is finished. Only one simple pleasure remains. A humble breakfast shared among fellow watchmen before returning home to sleep. With the town gates now standing open, your final duty has been completed. The morning belongs to everyone else now. Merchants greet their first customers. Children hurry through the streets carrying small baskets. The blacksmith's hammer rings for the first time, its clear metallic rhythm echoing across the rooftops. The market square, silent only a few hours ago, slowly fills with cheerful conversation. You, however, are walking in the opposite direction. While most people are beginning their day, yours is gently coming to an end. The guardhouse sits near the center of town, built from sturdy stone with a steep timber roof. It is not grand. There are no banners fluttering from tall towers. No richly carved doors. It is simply practical. A place where those who protect the town can rest between their duties. You push open the heavy wooden door. Warmth immediately greets you. The smell of oak fire fills the room. Someone has already added fresh logs to the hearth. The crackling flames chase away the lingering chill that settled into your bones during the long night. Several fellow watchmen have returned from their own patrols. Some remove heavy cloaks and hang them upon wooden pegs. Others carefully clean their lanterns, wiping soot from the polished horn panels. One man oils the iron tip of his staff before placing it neatly against the wall. These quiet routines are as familiar as the patrol itself. Equipment is cared for before anyone thinks about resting. A well-kept lantern burns more reliably. A clean bell rings more clearly. A polished buckle lasts many more seasons. Small acts of care make tomorrow night's work a little easier. Near the hearth, a simple breakfast has been prepared. Nothing luxurious. A round loaf of fresh bread from the bakery. A wedge of aged cheese. A bowl of warm oat porridge. A small crock of butter. A little honey, carefully saved from the previous autumn. A clay jug filled with cool well water. Perhaps, if the town has prospered recently, a mug of small ale brewed to be weak and nourishing rather than intoxicating. For working people in the Middle Ages, such a meal is satisfying enough. After hours spent walking through the call, darkness, even plain food tastes wonderful. You slice a thick piece of warm bread. The crust crackles softly beneath the knife. Steam rises gently from the fresh loaf. You spread a thin layer of butter across its surface. It melts almost immediately. The rich aroma makes you smile. No feast could feel more welcome. Around the table, conversation remains quiet. Night workers rarely feel the need for loud voices. One watchman mentions seeing a fox near the western fields. Another laughs softly about mist making an old apple tree resemble a wandering monk. Someone else reports helping a farmer whose mule had slipped its tether before sunset. None of the stories are dramatic. None involve great battles or daring rescues. They are ordinary moments. Yet they are the kind of memories that quietly shape a lifetime. The captain of the watch enters the room carrying a small leather ledger. He listens patiently as each patrol reports the events of the night. North Wall. Secure. Market Square. Peaceful. River District. No signs of fire. Western Gate. A late traveler sheltered outside until dawn. The captain nods after each report. A few brief notes are written upon the page. The record of this night is remarkably short. That pleases everyone. Long reports usually mean troubled nights. Short reports often mean peaceful ones. When your turn comes, you simply say, "Nothing unusual to report." Perhaps no sentence brings greater satisfaction to a watchman. It means the town has slept safely. The ledger closes with a quiet thump. The night's work is officially complete. Outside, sunlight pours through the small windows of the guardhouse. Dust motes drift lazily through the golden beams. You lean back slightly upon the wooden bench. The warmth of the fire. The comfort of good bread. The gentle voices of trusted companions. Together, they create a feeling that is difficult to describe. Not excitement. Not pride. Simply quiet contentment. For many medieval watchmen, these peaceful mornings become cherished rituals. The breakfast marks the gentle transition between two worlds. Outside, the busy town continues growing louder. Inside, the night's guardians prepare for rest. You finish the last bite of bread and rinse it down with cool water. Your tired legs remind you just how many miles you have walked before sunrise. Soon, you will return home. Perhaps to a modest cottage with whitewashed walls. Perhaps to a small room above a workshop. Perhaps to a family still beginning their morning while you prepare for sleep. You gather your cloak, now carrying the faint scent of wood smoke, fresh bread, river mist, and cool night air. It is the smell of honest work. The captain thanks each watchman with a simple nod. No speeches. No ceremony. Only mutual respect earned through countless peaceful nights. You step outside once more. The sun now shines brightly above the rooftops. The town no longer belongs to the watchman. It belongs to bakers, merchants, blacksmiths, farmers, children, and travelers. Your part in today's story has quietly come to an end. But before you finally rest, there is one last walk to make. A slow journey home through the bustling streets you protected while everyone slept. You leave the warmth of the guardhouse and step into the bright morning sunlight. For the first time in many hours, the town is fully awake. The same streets that belonged to silence during the night now hum gently with life. You pause for a moment. It is almost difficult to believe that only a few hours ago these cobblestones were empty beneath the moon. Now they carry the steady rhythm of another ordinary day. A baker places warm loaves onto a wooden shelf outside his shop. Their golden crusts catch the morning light. The inviting aroma fills the street, and before long, a small line of customers begins to form. A young boy clutches a few carefully counted coins in his hand, sent by his mother to buy the family's breakfast. He smiles politely as the baker hands him a fresh loaf wrapped in a clean linen cloth. Nearby, a milkmaid balances 2 wooden buckets across her shoulders. The milk inside ripples gently with each careful step. She has already visited several farms before most townspeople have even opened their shutters. Like you, her work begins while the world is still quiet. You continue walking at an easy pace. There is no rush now. The day's responsibilities belong to others. Your only destination is home. A pair of carpenters pass by carrying long oak beams between them. They greet you with a respectful nod. They recognize the dark wool cloak of the town watch. Perhaps they never noticed your patrol during the night. Perhaps they slept peacefully, trusting that someone remained awake on their behalf. Either way, the quiet nod says enough. The market square is alive once more. Colorful awnings flutter gently above rows of neatly arranged goods. Fresh vegetables glisten with morning dew. Red apples are stacked in tidy pyramids. Bundles of herbs fill the air with the scent of rosemary, thyme, and sage. A potter carefully arranges glazed bowls upon a wooden table. Across the square, a woman spreads woven cloths embroidered with simple patterns. Merchants call cheerful greetings to familiar customers. Laughter begins to replace the silence that filled this place beneath the moon. You stop beside the fountain. Only hours ago, its gentle trickle echoed across an empty square. Now children gather nearby, splashing their hands in the cool water while their parents talk with neighbors. The same fountain. The same stones. Yet the atmosphere has changed completely. Morning has transformed everything. You smile quietly. This is why your work matters. Because people can begin their day without worry. Without fear. Without even thinking about the peaceful night that came before. Your path leads through a narrow lane lined with small gardens. Tiny flowers bloom beside simple cottages. Bees drift lazily from blossom to blossom. A woman waters climbing beans with a wooden bucket. She hums softly to herself as she works. An elderly man trims herbs growing beside his doorway. Everywhere you look, ordinary life unfolds with gentle purpose. These small moments remind you that history is rarely made only by kings and battles. It is built from mornings like this. From bread being baked. From gardens being tended. From neighbors exchanging greetings. From children laughing in the sunlight. And from watchmen quietly keeping the night safe. As you near your own neighborhood, the streets grow calmer once again. The busiest part of town lies behind you. A small cat stretches lazily atop a warm stone wall, blinking in the sunlight. It watches you pass with sleepy curiosity before curling back into a comfortable ball. Even the animals seem content with the peaceful morning. At last, your modest cottage comes into view. It is simple. Timber-framed. A thatched roof. A small vegetable garden beside the door. Smoke rises gently from the chimney. Someone inside has already lit the morning fire. You pause outside for just a moment. The sounds of the town drift softly through the air. The church bell marks another passing hour. A cart rolls slowly down the street. Birds continue singing from nearby trees. The world is fully awake now. Your part in it, for today, is complete. You push open the wooden door. Warmth welcomes you once again. The familiar scent of porridge, fresh herbs, and oak smoke fills the room. You carefully remove your cloak and hang it upon its peg. Your lantern rests upon the table. Its candle has burned almost completely away. The ashwood staff leans quietly against the wall, waiting patiently for another evening. You wash your hands in a basin of cool water, brushing away the dust of the night's long walk. Outside, the town continues its busy morning. Inside, everything is wonderfully still. You sit beside the window for one final moment, watching sunlight dance across the garden. You know that tonight, as the sun sets once more, another watchman, or perhaps you again, will lift a lantern, take up a wooden staff, and begin the same slow journey through quiet streets beneath the stars. The cycle never truly ends. It simply turns, day after day, season after season, year after year. And in that steady rhythm lies a quiet kind of peace. The morning has fully arrived. Sunlight fills the rooftops. The market is busy once again. Children laugh as they run across the square. The baker has almost sold his first batch of bread. The blacksmith's hammer rings steadily through the streets. Life continues exactly as it did yesterday. And, with a little luck, exactly as it will tomorrow. Most people passing through the town will never stop to think about the quiet hours that came before sunrise. They will not wonder who checked the locked gates, who watched the empty market square, who listened for the smell of smoke drifting through narrow streets, who walked beside the silent river beneath thousands of stars. Because nothing happened. No fire spread across the rooftops. No frightened voices echoed through the alleys. No alarm bell shattered the peaceful darkness. And strangely enough, that is the greatest success a watchman could ever hope for. History often remembers the extraordinary. Kings who conquered kingdoms. Queens who changed dynasties. Knights who won famous battles. Explorers who crossed unknown seas. Their names fill books. Their portraits hang in museums. Their stories are told for centuries. But ordinary people, the ones who quietly made everyday life possible, are often forgotten. The watchman belongs among them. His work was rarely dramatic. Night after night, he walked the same streets, checked the same gates, passed the same cottages, listened to the same church bell marking each slow hour. At first glance, such a life may seem repetitive. Yet repetition was its greatest strength. Because peace is built from ordinary routines repeated faithfully. Every locked gate, every careful glance, every patient pause to listen, every familiar path walked beneath the moon. These small actions created something priceless. Safety. And safety allowed everything else to flourish. Children could sleep without fear. Merchants could store their goods behind wooden doors. Bakers could prepare tomorrow's bread. Farmers could rest before another day in the fields. Life continued because someone quietly accepted the responsibility of staying awake while others slept. In many ways, a medieval watchman served as the heartbeat of the night. Never loud, never demanding attention. Simply steady, reliable, always present. His greatest achievement was often invisible. If he did his work well, most people never noticed him at all. And perhaps there is something timeless about that. Even today, every community depends upon people whose work is easiest to overlook. The nurse finishing a long overnight shift. The firefighter waiting for an alarm that may never come. The lighthouse keeper of centuries past. The railway signalman. The lighthouse lamplighter. The modern security guard walking quiet hallways after midnight. Different centuries. Different tools. Yet the same quiet purpose. To protect. To observe. To remain calm while others rest. The medieval night watchman reminds us that history was never shaped only by famous rulers. It was also shaped by countless ordinary people performing simple tasks with extraordinary consistency. You imagine the watchman now. His lantern carefully cleaned. His wool cloak hanging beside the door. His ashwood staff resting against the wall. Outside his small window, the sounds of the town drift gently through the morning air. He lies down beneath a thick wool blanket. The same sun that wakes everyone else becomes his invitation to sleep. His breathing slows. The long walk through moonlit streets has ended. The quiet town he protected now carries on without him. Tomorrow evening, as shadows lengthen once more, the church bell will ring again. Candles will glow behind tiny windows. The market square will empty. The gates will close. The stars will return to their familiar places above the rooftops. And somewhere, a watchman will lift a lantern. Take one slow breath. Open the guardhouse door. And begin another peaceful journey through sleeping streets. Not seeking adventure. Not searching for glory. Simply walking. Watching. Listening. One careful step at a time. as the town dreams safely beneath the stars. And now, as the morning sunlight grows warmer, as the sounds of the market become softer in the distance, as the steady rhythm of footsteps fades into memory, you can let the peaceful image remain. A quiet medieval town, ancient stone walls, a gentle river flowing beneath the moon, the soft glow of a lantern disappearing around a distant corner, and a faithful watchman whose greatest gift was allowing everyone else to sleep in peace. Thank you for walking beside him tonight. May your own evening, or your own morning, be just as calm. And may your dreams be as peaceful as the silent streets of a medieval town before dawn.